Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Midwest Weekly here for week 7, the last week of the regular season for the 2025 Fall Sweat League. It's CLT here again, filling in for J Moose, aka Herwick. He's still fighting some voice issues, but he was nice enough to throw a little bit of content up earlier today with some of his predictions. But back with me again is Mr. Nexus. Nexus, how you doing today?
Pretty decent. I mean, happy to step in and fill in as well. I think anybody who is remotely involved with the league knows how hard CLT and Harewick work to pump out content. And so this has been kind of in the works for a while, me maybe stepping in and trying to give y'all a little break. Happy we could finally make it happen here, final week of the regular season.
Yeah, yeah, it's greatly appreciated. I think it's been a long, tedious year for the server and the mod group. We've had a lot of trials and tribulations through all the splits. A lot of stuff that, looking back, we could have probably done better. But overall, I think it's safe to say, after this whole calendar year of 2025, we did not miss a single series to throw up on the YouTube as a VOD. And last time I checked, we were north of 90% on castings. Considering that's two sweat league splits and a rec league split, that was kind of just spur of the moment. Yeah, we're all feeling it, but my man, the goat over here, Mr. Nexus, is giving us a fantastic addition to all of this. He's been helping us out, recording some content. He's been just the man, the myth, the legend that we all know him to be. So, but let's get in here. We only have 3 series to go over. There was quite a few forfeits. Small Brains will end up getting the win over Capachungus because of a forfeit. Capachungus having a hard time getting subs and getting players. I know I've chipped in Alves, Minus, and a few others. Chipped in to help them out the first few weeks previously, but could not make it happen this week. So they forfeited. Going down to Group B, there was only 2 series. Team 3 forfeited. And then Ghost as well. They forfeited the rest of the split as well. So only 3 series to talk about, and we'll start from the top to the bottom and go over Insane Banana Posse and Coin Flip. If my memory is correct, Insane Banana needed to win this to have a shot at playoffs. So this was a
Yeah,
very important
I think
series.
that's right. I know Group A had a lot of kind of interesting tiebreakers and what ifs that were still open
Hmm.
to happen. On paper, it was going to be an uphill battle for them into coin flip, but we've seen in this league anything can happen. And then once the game started, though, I think coin flip kind of showing why they were the favorites going into this one.
Yeah, yeah. Looking at this draft here, we see Coin Flip going. Um, kind of their style a little bit. Arresto being a very avid Swain player, very talented Swain player, and Geo Prow here with the Aurora support. We've seen this pulled out quite a few times from him. Nexus, you're kind of the support savant here. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone can pull it off, right, it's going to be Geo Prow. I think that's kind of right up his lane in terms of strong laning support characters that can really look to dominate early, push an advantage, and then roam around the map. Just really continue fighting. Aurora support, it's just you're kind of playing off high base damage and that electrocute value in order to really gain yourself a lane advantage. And I think it's really good in this case when you pair it up with something like a Caitlyn that's going to be comfortable in lane, and you're going into a Janna. I think you're never really going to be at threat of something like an engage support, and you'll kind of have a chance to free farm into the mid late game, but mostly the mid game for this Aurora support when she can really start bursting people. So I the pick works.
Yeah, I've seen this man play this time and time again. I do distinctively, I think last year, remember a flex game where he went north of 15 kills and was top damage in the lobby on Aurora support. So it's definitely something he's practiced. And when you try to play passive into coin flip, they make you pay. And we kind of seen that a little bit in this game. I don't quite remember everything about this game, but I did think, looking at Insane Banana and knowing that team fairly well, they tried probably a little bit of trickery in the draft with the Nautilus. Obviously, War Initiate being an avid Nautilus merchant, flexing it to the top lane with one-handed, but also, the Kai'Sa mid Hui bot is interesting. I don't know Crackler to be a big mage player in the bot lane, but they just kind of wanted to send it here, which is also interesting because I think Hui does very well into the Swain. So
yeah, I mean the highlight of these games were definitely the drafts, and not hope that doesn't in a way like take away from the gameplay, but just so much spice coming out. I mean, on both sides, right? So many different flex picks. One of the things that always annoying to play coin flip with is how much they flex around. The Aurora's a flex pick, Pantheon's a flex pick, and they kind of ended up with 3 winning lanes for themselves, which is a huge advantage for them, especially as a team that likes to fight early. And I know Banana Posse is kind of the same. That's one of the reasons I like this spice in the Mordekaiser jungle. That's a pick that thrives on skirmishing. It worked out well for them, and I think a few fights around the mid lane to help get their team kind of staying in the fight. But coin flip, they really just got ahead early with those lanes and snowballed it well, mostly spearheaded by Brandino and Aristotle, that mid jungle.
yeah, I'm actually looking over here at the VOD a little bit. 5 minutes already. Kills all around this map, including a solo kill from top and mid. So, kind of echoing what you said, the lanes just got ahead and then started to go from there. So, we do see, looking at the damage spread, Swain doing a freaking truckload of damage. Good lord. But yeah, the mid laner's putting out quite a bit of damage. But overall, I think the Spice did end up getting to Insane Banana here. I think it is pretty much kind of 3 winning lanes. Mid's not really winning, but it's not losing either. Just because Kai'Sa's so much slower of an AD than say like something more aggressive like a Lucian Tristana. It allows Swain to just kind of pace himself into the game. So yeah, they end up taking this one. We are going to move a little quick here. So we're going to move over to game 2, and yet again, a lot of trickery in this draft. Though 37 to 30 kills, this definitely looks like a much more
banger.
Yeah, a much better banger to watch. So Matthias, I don't think anybody's ever going to just figure out, just ban Ivern. Like, we know Brandino does play it.
Just ban it.
Just ban it. Just get it the hell off this team. Because we have consistently with Matthias watched Daisy go around the map and just beat that ass. So
yep, I've been scarred by it. I think many around the league have been. And this is one of what I have is, best top laner in Group A. So I think take him off one of his comfort picks. It's one of CoinFlip's comfort picks as well because of how it plays with the rest of the team. But yeah, once I saw that come out, you're always like, ooh, looking good for CoinFlip. But more spice out of Insane Banana Posse again. See Smolder mid and Rumble jungle. Thoughts on the Banana Posse draft?
So I am a fairly big merchant of the Smolder mid. When I sub for Kappa, I've actually pulled it out twice into a couple of slower lanes. One was against Scorch's mid Banana. He played Scion, which I know Scorch isn't afraid to throw tanks in the mid lane, so I kind of had that ready for it. But I forget the second game I played it in. But yeah, Smolder is kind of pretty interchangeable between AD and mid. But the Rumble in the Jungle, I've been fortunate enough to play with Alves, the team jungler, quite a few times, and that is kind of one of his pocket picks. If you've seen him play around in the server quite a bit, so I am quite familiar with the Rumble in the Jungle. And if you can pull it off and build a team comp around it that makes sense, it can be pretty nasty to deal with as well. But I really like CoinFlip's team comp overall.
Yeah, so much zone control. The Nilah, it's I'm never really a fan of Nilah. I just don't think she's ever that good of a pick. It's so tough to pilot in the late game. But when you have, the top side of your map scaling up nicely with the Veigar, Ivern, then matters a little bit less, and it does give you a bit of all-in pressure early game. GeoPro is always going to be going for that. So thinking that was the thought there with the draft for CoinFlip.
Yeah, I did actually just look over the VOD. It was the GeoProw special with the press the attack Leona here. I honestly I think in some of the times CoinFlip will bust out like a certain pick, the Swain, the Ivern. I feel like sometimes their draft isn't like the most effective or cohesive around it. This draft I really like. Xin Zhao is really useful with enchanters, and seeing one coming out of the top lane is kind of a wrinkle. But also the amounts of shields and heals coming out help Nilah as well getting into the game. So I'm overall like I'm very thumbs up on this comp. The Veigar is something you don't see that often, but there's not really any blinks or hyper mobility here, so I love the Veigar as well as zone control.
Yeah, I think fun draft, and then kind of, looking at the game, it really got explosive. Both teams scrapping it out. I like both teams' drafts. I think this was a great way. Never the goal to go out like this, but a great way for Insane Banana Posse to go out. I feel like this draft had a lot of balance. I haven't had the privilege of watching too many Group A games, but from what I know of the players, kind of reflecting their style here with this kind of off meta-ish pick Bruiser for one-handed, crazy flex pick in the jungle for War Initiate, something spicy and scaling for Ghost Tiger, and then just good team fighting from the bot lane. So good to see overall. I think, like I said, didn't get the privilege of watching this one. I just know from a quick scan through, it was very back and forth, and Insane Banana Posse really stuck in there into CoinFlip. They were down like 5k gold at, I think, for most of the game early on.
Yeah, I'm looking here at the 35-minute mark, and the gold's pretty close here. Just trying to catch a little bit of the ending here. And looks like they almost caught Brandino. Actually, they did end up picking him off. Wait, when did Ghost Tiger fall? Actually, Ghost Tiger was the first one that got picked off by Brandino. So 1-for-1 there. And then the rest of the CoinFlip comp just started to snowball into the base and ended that one. But yeah, overall, I think a very respectable, very nice season for Insane Banana. They fought all the way to the end. They definitely had some of the most creative drafts. Thinking about Ghost Tiger, he's on Smolder this week, but he had a Mordekaiser mid one week. He pulled out the Kassadin. Yeah, he's a very unique player. I've had the fortune of leaning against him a few times, and he's definitely very, very talented. I have nothing but respect for the kind of wacky champions he can pull. Kind of makes me think of Rurika a little bit, but even kind of wackier. So,
I think it's the craziest. I mean, that mid jungle is the most insane like Champ Ocean I've probably ever see in my time playing competitive. You can't prep against it because those pull out anything. I mean, it's like what do you even ban? Is it even worth banning anything? Like
uh,
just see what they
it,
pick and try to match into it.
it's actually low key. Even worse, and this is not a shot at War Initiate at all. He's played 4 different roles in this server in the last like 4 splits. But I originally played against Insane Banana when they had Ghost Tiger's brother, Flame Dog 40, and he has an even wackier ocean than War Initiate. I will have to send you the game. That you might have seen it come around in the server. The Qme kind of phrase, the Kayn Yuumi. They were the first
Mm.
ones to put a Yuumi mid and run double smite with funnel Kayn, and it's a wacky game. I was involved with it. It was actually the first time they ever pulled it out, and I got to play against it, and it was not fun. It was
Yeah,
not fun at all.
it won't be imagine.
They like to say we changed the rules just to get rid of that, and I mean maybe. War, if you're watching, that's a maybe. But yeah, great
Oh,
season for
absolutely.
them. Coin flip, securing the second seed for Group A. So yeah, pretty exciting series. Looks like Game 2 is definitely the one to watch in regards to that. So we will move over to Hidden Leaf versus Vancouver, and this is probably the one we'll talk the least about. I don't think we had the chance to watch it live,
Hmm.
and I've been extremely busy with just stuff outside of the server, personal business. But after we record this, I'm planning on recording this series and getting it up because I heard it was insane. So I've got the in-game lobby up for Game 1. As we can see, um, VIP Vancouver did lose this Game 1. So, looking at the comps, Hashira, I did have a chance to sub with them. Absolutely some of the coolest dudes in the world. They just, they really just don't take it that serious. They're having fun, which is the way you're supposed to do it. So, we see Deborah Morgan bringing out the Hui again. He is an avid Hui player and does not care what he's against bot lane. He just loves to play it. And Guillaume bringing out the LeBlanc here is quite interesting.
Yeah, I think fun draft from the Hashira. A lot of just hands checking all around. Very high skill ceiling champions all across the board. And I think if any team in Group A is going to go for that, Hashira is one of those teams that you kind of trust with those picks. They've proven all season long that they have the hands to back it up. Like you mentioned, they're there for the vibes. They're there to not treat it that seriously. So they're going to be ready to scrap. And it looks like it paid off in this game one. Against what I know are some VIP comfort picks. I've seen Marshall on the Maokai support a bunch, and that is usually a stabilizing pick. It looked like it did decently here. Maybe just top side of the map and the carries not getting that far ahead, especially in the mid lane. Pixel on 8K gold in this Oriana. It looks like that was kind of the target point for the Hashira in this game one.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like they really took care in the picks and bans I'm seeing kind of here in the bottom right that they took away a lot of the like reactionary solo queue type of checks. I see the Galio, the Morgana, the Mordekaiser all taken out. So, um, yeah, not much you can do if you're gonna go mage v mage, and this LeBlanc comes out, and you just don't have that great of CC for her. So, not surprised that she was very effective. But the Yone top as well. Yeah, if this team comp gets rolling, this is, like you said, this is solo queue. So, but yeah, so they took game 1. We go over to game 2 here, and we see a lot different style, specifically from the Hashira here. And what was it? Ends up being a 50-minute game. Ooh, I will be excited to watch that.
Yeah, I need to see this game because looking at the scorecard here, I have zero clue how VIP actually won this. You're just looking first at the champs. I really favor that double tank front line with the Sivir. Not necessarily a hard stomp in the late game, but you would think on paper that scales better. And then just the kills. I mean, 14 to 34, and VIP still managing to pull out the win. A real stunner, if you will. And that's kind of what I'm hearing through the grapevine was the story of these games 2 and 3. Sure, you'll be able to touch more on that once you get that cast through. No pressure, of course. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, just all we have to go off of this is this, and my jaw is like I'm floored right now, right? Like how'd they pull this one off? They're behind in gold, everywhere except 80 carry. And while Yunara can shred, she wasn't really going off either. So I'm thinking it was just some crazy late game fight that really turned it around for them. You see 2 Barons on the side of VIP. So those objective steals that I guess kind of made their way through, 4 Drakes, a Herald. So maybe that was the difference. Just a one fight at the end and a T1 style end.
Yeah, I wish I had the time to get to this game because this one definitely looks like it's going to be fun. I haven't decided if I'm going to just cast it or just replay over it. We'll see. I still got a busy end of this week, but yeah, I'm very excited to throw this up. When I do upload to YouTube, it'll probably be a premiere. We'll set for tomorrow night type deal, and the whole server can have a watch at what you alluded to was the stunner show here in game 2 and game 3. So we will go over to the game 3 here. We got another Swain. Okay,
Yeah.
actually, this is more of like the Scorch style of comp. You have the Swain Zillion. Granted, it's Swain mid, but this is interesting.
Yeah.
This Olaf looks really out of place.
Yeah, this is kind of another game. This one was very all over the place, draft wise on both sides. You have a Fiora for Marco Pa, and it feels maybe a little awkward to play a 4-1 with the rest of those champs. Team fight wise, what are you really doing? I guess you're just looking for crazy scraps. So maybe that was the read into Hashira. And then on Hashira's side, you have this weird mix of a dive-ish topside with Wukong Olaf, and then kind of a peel back carry with Syndra and Zaya. And when you're playing into Swain Zillion, you don't want fights going long, so you need to commit fully one way or another. And Akaza, another crazy game. I'm bandwagoning off of Hairwiz, and I have him as my MVP of the split. I don't mind sharing that. Proving it again in this final game of the season for Group A, showing up. Just not quite enough to bring his team over the edge.
Yeah, I've heard some rumblings. I've yet to cast my vote, but Akuza is definitely up there in the MVP and the All Star. He's done a fantastic job all split for Hashira and was a very big reason of why they were the first team, the first seed of Group A. But this game definitely is much quicker ending for this game, only 28 minutes, and the gold only about 300 gold diff. So these two teams were very even throughout most of the game. But I like the comp a little bit more from VIP here. They do have some things that don't really synergize that well, but Ambessa is pretty good to play through with enchanters. To where this Olaf, like again, I kind of said it before. It stands out, and I feel like there's not much when you have Syndra, who is known for her more mid to late game spike, and you have a crit based AD carry. I feel like you want something a little tankier to like stand in front of them. and
Yeah.
just kind of play it through. So, um, yeah, I definitely think the Fearless may have reared its ugly head here a little bit, but yeah. So VIP gets the dub here, and that actually confirms that they will be the third seed going into the playoffs from Group A. So that is those two series, and now we move over to Group B, and this one I unfortunately did not get the chance to watch much of this one, but we got somebody who played in it, so we
Yeah,
will
it is
go
actually.
with that one. Actually, wait, I do remember a little bit of
I
this
think you
game one.
casted it.
Wait, did I cast this? Oh my. Okay, I'll shut up.
Nah, you're good. It's kind of why I'm here, right? I can talk about the series I played.
Wait,
It's
did
a
I
little
seriously?
more
Oh, fuck, I
fresh for
did
me.
cast this. Shit.
I remember watching it back and being like, my goat, there he is,
Oh.
with his O's and Oo's and some item flamage.
We might get to that. It'll come back to me. I do. Okay. All right. I remember the the talk of the series was tower diving.
Yep, that's a good way to summarize it. We can look at, we usually talk about drafts before the game. Touch on that real quick from more of an insider perspective. Uh, I think the biggest thing that's going to stand out is the Soboro topside. They went for a 1P Lee Sin, which I think is mostly a denial pick. We do have lead our jungler this split, very much a Lee Sin main, but you know, one pick Lee Sin. You guys pointed it out in the draft. I think you and War were casting. Poppy was open, so we were able to take that. And then another kind of, I have no issue, calling it, and this is by no means, any disrespect towards Sobero, but I think those were two kind of ego picks, a first pick Lee Sin and a blind pick Darius. I think it's kind of throwing the gauntlet down and seeing, if you can match it. And this go around, we were able to do so. I think with some creative counters, we had Mr. Bufa on the Vayne top. That really stuck out. Uh, and it was a fun game one. This was our only win of the best of three, and I think it did come, off the hands of the Vayne and just some good scrappy team fighting out of the rest of our team.
Yeah, yeah. The Vayne was an interesting pick, and actually, I think I reached out to you afterwards asking if Bufa was an ADC main at one point because he played this pretty well. I will say the original lane swap for Sobero
Yeah.
looked like it was just not. It was going to deny every type of advantage you guys were going to want to come up with. Darius, I think, came up back top against the Vayne with Ninja Tabbies and a kill on equal CS as well because he got a kill bot lane from a 2v2 against you guys.
Yeah. So for the Mr. Buffa point, for a little Ninja Turts lore, for those who don't know, and this will probably be shared a few more times until it's more public knowledge, but we were the LMU League of Legends team, just a small college over in LA. And Mr. Buffa was our AD carry alongside me at support for about 2 years. And then things, we kind of switched it around with a few more pieces coming in and coming out, and just whoever was having fun with what roles. And he ended up top, Tango Fish bot. It's a bit of a better look for us. I may get slack for this depending on if they watch it back, but Mr. Buffa at his peak, better AD carry than Tango Fish. I think in the right meta, in a Zaya Kaisa meta, definitely clears. Everything else a little more even. But in terms of laning, Mr. Buffa, very strong AD carry, very strong mechanics, and you kind of see those on display. Part of the reason we also had to switch out is because most of our games were turning into bot lane drops 15 kills or we lose, and that's just not as fun of a well-rounded way to play, a Comp 5 League of Legends game. So this was our look, and it's fun to do. That lane swap though, it was really well played from Sobero. Kept the Zaya in it, kept the Darius in it. I think I actually got a solo kill on the Vayne, but things really turned around. If you go about 38 minutes into the YouTube video, name of the game, the tower dives. I think we may have gotten a little lucky here with. I think they said it in the interview as well, Sobero. A complete misplay in this game one tower dive.
Yeah, yeah. I do remember them saying that the Darius Apprehend, the E, does not draw turret aggro, which kind of threw me for a loop as well, because Anivia's wall can actually grant her tower aggro because it's coded to do 0 true damage. So,
wow.
I was just like, wait, I think everything that doesn't do damage still gets turret aggro because of like the same ideology, but nope, was wrong there. So
yeah, I mean, that was a fact to learn from me as well. But a Vayne walking away with a triple kill like that is really never gonna be good for Sobero. So I think we caught a bit of a lucky break there. Not saying we didn't play some of these team fights well. We definitely did, but that helped keep us in this early to mid game that was otherwise slowly slipping away. And if you want to show the people something, you can go to 42-15 and witness maybe the low light of the entire Midwest season. My Poppy alt there.
Oh, yeah.
I had some Chinese TikToks in my mind. Feeling good. You're up gold. You're like, I'm a Poppy alt Zaya away from tower, ear into the wall, and then it all went a little further than I thought it would. And, ended up. I mean, I have no clue what I was thinking. Free kill. I don't even need to press any buttons. I could probably just recall.
Yeah. Yeah,
I could laugh out of that one.
Yeah, that was one of the rare times where the Twitch chat kind of blew up and just went, "Wait, what?"
and rightfully so.
Hey, you gotta
can provide some entertainment at the very least.
You gotta make fun of yourself. The very first season of Midwest Weekly, I did like a literally full screen TP. It was like, dude, I would have just walked there quicker. So it happens for sure. But yeah, I do remember that Poppy, and I kind of just thought maybe that was kind of your thinking, was maybe she wouldn't have went that far, but nope. I think Tong was pretty happy with your decision there.
Yeah, it was just bad thinking in general. But the rest of the game, I think really went in our favor. We had a great draft. You have Jarvan, Orianna. Lee Sin is kind of nullified, and something you'll see in this series, and I think anybody who has watched Sobero over the split, they tend to win through their top side. They have someone I respect a lot mechanically in the jungle. I have him as me confirmed before. Yeah, he was my all-pro jungler for Group B. I think a lot of Sobero games kind of get driven through. I don't know how to say the name, but just all those characters together. They have great mechanics, and then combined with what can be a very scrappy top side. I think we talk a lot about egos in this league sometimes, and who likes to really fight. Terry Kim, definitely one of those people. Blind pick Darius, and just the way he plays, it's very the Shy-esque. He's just gonna, depending on how the play goes, it's an overextension or if it's a limit test, pretty much all the time. And so when he's ahead, which happens an okay amount of time because he has the mechanics to back it up, things look really good for that top side. So I think the biggest thing for us in that game one was we were able to shut down, Lee Sin with the Poppy pick, and then with the Vayne counter pick coming in and getting those kills, we had quite the lead to take with us through team fights. We were able to close it out.
Yeah, I really overall like this comp from you guys. I think even if Ori got behind, which he kind of got bullied there a little bit in the early game, even though I do remember Sam Ladd getting one back on the Vex King. Orianna delivery with Jarvan is great. you're playing a really good job at prevention, especially with the Lee Sin, and it just they can't really do anything into your 3 or 4 man, no matter who it is. So very very well done draft overall by
Yeah,
you guys.
thank you. On to game two.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So keeping on the subject of draft, one thing I'll go ahead and warn coin flip if they end up watching this. I haven't had the time to scout too much, but I know that Sobero runs Kindred Galio quite a bit, and that was the super picks here in this game too. Something you have in the back of your mind, but we figured we could play into it. But like I said, this jungler on the side of Sobero, very good hands, knows how to get ahead, knows how to push leads. Terry Kim on that Yone as well, able to kind of help facilitate that. And Sobro this was a substitute support and substitute mid. So, wasn't sure exactly what was going to come out, but that draft, mostly out of the top side, really did wonders for them in snowballing into, what is often at times some of the struggles for us when we lose mid jungle skirmishes. That's a lot of the times how we fall behind and how we kind of get snowballed on. And I think they did a really good job of punishing our picks with some of their power picks.
Yeah, I think the thing I remember standing out in this game was the Silas jungle. I don't I don't know enough about it to have really like an opinion on it, but I thought it was in a weird spot. I don't know if that was in theory something to just try and counter the Kindred with Silas stealing her ult and just kind of mind gaming that a little bit, but um,
Yeah, that was the gist. Lead's a fan of the pick. I think it's technically a flex as well, which is always nice to draft when you
yeah,
can.
that's true.
Um, but I know Lead really likes playing the pick. It's a fun pick to play, right? You've probably played some Silas in your time.
Nope.
Get to run around, get to skirmish. Nope, it's not your pool. Yeah, but
Nope,
you
no
get to
melee
skirmish a
mids for this guy
bunch.
except for one.
Fair enough. But it's a fun pick to play, and that's what it's all about for us. It looked like it was playable. We went for it, and didn't quite work out this go around. I think, we just got out skirmished in a few fights early on, and Silas, it's a really tough pick to make work. You really need to snowball and get ahead, and if that doesn't happen, to a large extent, then you're in for a tougher time, especially against a team like Sobro. So I think that was kind of the story of game two. We were always kind of in it team fight wise, but I feel like with the comp that Sobro had, we really needed to get ourselves more of a lead to stay in this one, and that definitely didn't happen.
Yeah, but yeah, it happens. But he had a couple decent ults, especially having Yone and Kindred ult, and then Galio on top of it. Like he had some decent
Yeah.
ults to pick. It was just kind of a little flippiness with the pick itself. So
Mhm.
um, so yeah, we will kind of go over to game 3 here, since we don't want to relive this one that much for you. Game.
Oh, I mean, it's quite all right. They had a good win, sub 30, clapped right back. Game three was very close though.
Yeah, yeah. Game 3. Saboros, I think, had a really really solid comp. While I think that you can easily draft against it, and I thought you guys had some really solid answers into it. Vi Ari is still like a pretty simple to execute combo, and it really sets up what you're trying to do in the draft overall. I thought the Zinzel, the Bard specifically, and Mordekaiser were really good answers for it. But then, if you're trying to answer that, Smolder, though, kind of gets to play for free a little
Hmm.
bit. Just continuing to kind of talk about the draft here. So, um, Smolder that deep in the draft, I thought was very, very smart from them. From you guys, um, like I said, I thought your responses pick for pick was decent overall. So this definitely
Yeah.
kind of screams what you guys like to do,
Oh,
champion wise.
100%.
Yeah.
Have someone on, like, have most of our players on agency, and kind of this more structured team fight with a bruiser topside, troll mage mid, and tango fish on something with mobility. No problem exposing our draft strategies now that we're out of things. Spoiler alert for this game three. But this game, I mean, Terry Kim on this Shen,
Hmm.
I really don't think the smolder was too big of a problem, and this is no, once again, no disrespect to Sobro, but they win their games through their top side, right? Um, and this smolder didn't have much of a lead, and even in the late game, I think didn't contribute as much as you see other smolders do. This Shen, very creative level 3 roam down into the mid lane, and that really kicked things off bad. It's about 2:08:45 into the YouTube video. You can see him push the wave and start to move down. Lead was looking for a bit of a cheese 3 camp, and whether Sobero read it or we're just prepped to be in the area, Shen roams down at level 2, picks up a red buff. Lead gets his clear significantly slowed down because now he's just dead off the map. And then fast forward a little bit more, and Terry Kim picks up a solo kill onto Mr. Bufa with said red buff and ignite. And after that, I mean, our counter pick Mordekaiser, our R5, was off to a pretty rough start. He eventually got back in, but most of our game plan for who we're going to go through early in our top side, our Mordekaiser and Xin Zhao, were put behind from the get-go, and that made this game, I think a lot tougher than we would have liked. So props to, I think, mostly Terry Kim there, but whoever on Sobro read that play, I think that was quite literally a season-winning play for them.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember. Do you remember that play from the cast that that Rome was just goaded? There's just no other real way of saying it. I thought he did that well, and then getting the red buff, as a top laner, you're probably not all thinking about a red buff Shen at level 3, so I can definitely see where it starts to become something. But we do see you capitalize on a few Bard rooms. I know Bard is definitely one of your picks, and anytime you can accomplish stuff on the map, you're unlocked on the map. You're very good at roaming. So
Yeah, thank you. No, it's one of my favorite champs. Obviously, it's Bard. I think any support player, roaming
hmm
support player, agrees with that sentiment. The kit is just so fun to play with, and there's so much potential. You look at Keria, right? Best Bard player in the world. The stuff that he does, you can you can always find a way to win a team fight if you're a good enough Bard. That's not something that happened for me this game. A few ultis, if they landed on Smolder, maybe that turns things around. But I could not find the angle. Tong Tong always able to dodge out on it. And so, despite the fact that we were fighting back decently in the early game, just never really got to the point where, similar to game two, we have this comp that wants a lead, and unfortunately, with a top side that kind of just fell behind, due to whatever it was, chance, luck, hands, skirmishing. Tough to get to that point, and our team fighting from there can only take us so far.
yeah, yeah, I agree 100% with all of that here. But overall, I think you guys had a really, really just great season. You fought and took a lot of really, really talented teams to the limit, and overall, we can definitely see where you guys had nothing but just improvement overall compared to the previous split. where you
Oh yeah.
grinded but didn't have the success to kind of back up the work.
Just happy to get a win, we're here for a good time first and foremost, but it can
Yeah.
be tough going winless in a season. So
Bro, you
happy
got to
to
win before I
finally
did,
show some results and
and I got 4 splits on you.
deliver there. Oh gosh, yeah. But it's always fun. I've talked about it so many times. Anyone who's interacted with me around the league knows I love the culture of Midwest. It's a competitive league for sure, but I think everyone, or the vast majority of people, are here to experience competitive fives in a fun fashion rather than like a competitive fashion first.
Yep.
It takes many different forms for people. For us, that's just getting together and having a good time. So always happy to play. I expect we'll be back next split. But in the meantime, we'll be around. I'm sure we hopefully be able to make ourselves available for scrims. And then I know I'll definitely be following along some of these playoffs, hopefully casting a game or two, because these teams are legit.
Yeah, this was easily, I think, our most talented split just from top to bottom here. So, just being in the playoff race means you're a very talented team overall. But speaking of playoffs, we can kind of segue into that here. Like I said, we are moving fairly quick, but not much to talk about. Now, I cannot show the playoff bracket on Battlefly because they are playing right now.
We are
So,
filming at the time of Femboy, Jellyfish, and Vancouver Impact. But
yep,
both of us had our predictions in beforehand.
we
Disclaimer. So
yes we did. I do have the bracket up from the video that Herwick posted here. So we do see that Instinct and Hidden Leaf do get a first round bye. And then it is Femboy Jellyfish versus Vancouver Impact Challengers, and then Coin Flip versus Saboro. One note on the Saboro team is I believe the lineup they used against Ninja Turts is going to be their lineup going forward into playoffs, which I think can do some really weird things. I thought the top side, I agreed with you on the top side of the map, but I also felt like the maybe the change at mid and the style that the Vex King played there may also help the mid jungle and the top side of the map overall. So, interesting change this late in the season for Saboro, but if I remember, I believe that's what they told Rusty, that it was going to be the lineup for playoffs. So,
gotcha.
that could change a few things there, but we did get our predictions in for Femboy Jellyfish versus Vancouver Impact. Also, before I go into this, I will apologize infinitely for this. I was under the impression when the mods got together at the beginning that this whole bracket was double elimination. I was very, very mistaken on that. The round one between the 2 and verse 3 seeds, that is single elimination. For those that watch pro play, you can reference LCK or League Champions Korea, their format, where that they have a wild card round 1 that is single elim, and then after that it is full double elim. Every series is best of 5. I did get that detail right. So, but I was very, very mistaken. Rusty had to talk to all the teams, which I heard they were, they were annoyed. But that is 100% my mistake. And when we talked earlier about taking away a lot of stuff from this calendar year, as a mod team, I can say we have a lot of stuff jotted down, and we will continue to improve on that. So, partly my mistake on that. But we will definitely be better at the communications. But, alright, that's enough about that. So, Femboy Jellyfish versus Vancouver Impact. That is a very competitive series. not going to spoil the results. I did peek in a little bit from time to time for the stream, but I thought what Vancouver showed, especially the grit in the last couple weeks, they took a lot of teams to 3 games. They ended up taking a win off Hashira when they needed to, and they moved around their lineup a little bit. And I think they actually settled on this lineup, which looks really, really promising for them. Um, Femboy
Hmm.
Jellyfish has a great group of players, but the team play and the organization is something that I feel it can sometimes backfire on them. We've seen uh, Rurika obviously is an all-star mid. He's been an MVP from previous splits. He can, I think, literally play anything mid and and perform on it quite well. So I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I've heard these teams have scrimmed quite a bit with each other, so they might actually have some familiarity with it. But yeah, that that's that's kind of my take on that. Nexus, you got anything to add to that?
Sure. Yeah, before going into game score, I think VIP, both, a lot of well-rounded teams throughout the league. I think VIP kind of fits that bill from the few games I've seen out of them. Um, I don't really know who star of the show is. I will say though, I think Pixel is a clear target point for Femboy Jellyfish. I think Femboys, they win through their 2 carries. Marika's always going to be limit testing stuff. That's, you know, a big strength when you have the hands to back it up, and the team often plays around it, but can also be their downfall. That's how we've been able to kind of maybe steal that one game off of them in the past. If you can stabilize mid, he's probably going to go in and make some questionable plays to keep the action going. Um, and then rest of the map, I think they have Noah for playoffs, correct?
Yes,
Rather
you
than
are correct. I didn't think about that. Yeah, Noah is filling in for at top lane for Dippy, I believe, the whole playoffs.
Okay, gotcha. I don't know too much about Noah, but Dippy was always like a reliable top laner for them to kind of balance out very flippy parts of the map elsewhere. But I very highly rate Ririka and Angel Boy. I think two they're the two best players in their respective positions for Group B. I think Angel Boy mechanically is very strong. Has a bit maybe of a safe champion pool, but that complements Rurika well, and vice versa. I think when I look at Femboys, it's just a matter of if they can keep Rurika in it, alongside Higgins as well, who can be a bit flippy at times himself. So all in all, dropping the score, I have 3-1 Femboys. I think the mid lane advantage out of the Jellyfish through Rurika will be enough to carry them through. I think that's something we saw get exposed against the Hashira. Pixel kind of struggling to get off the ground, and I maybe expect a little bit of the same to happen here, but as always, excited to be proven wrong. I think Femboy to me just have the edge in the carry roles, which really comes to light in best of fives.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that, and I have it 3-1 as well. I love the carries out of Femboy Jellyfish, Angel Boy, who was a Mac last season off of Femboys that won the split. Uh, I think he's an insanely talented AD carry, and if Rurika doesn't try to just out hands check people, I think sometimes that's where he can be exploited. But overall, his side laning I think is some of the best I've seen and played against. And when you start getting down the fearless, if it does go deep into a series, he has way more tricks to pull out than say Pixel. So 3-1 Femboy Jellyfish, mirroring Mr. Nexus's prediction. And yeah, so going over to coin flip versus Soboro.
Hmm.
This is a very, very interesting game. Or series, I should say. Coin flip is probably one of the hardest teams to prepare for. And if you give them time, they're even harder to prepare. But Soboro, especially, we keep going back to the top side of the map, and the jungler has hands, the top laner has hands. Vex King, at least in the very small sample size we got shown, that he has no issues brawling and trading mid. In certain matchups, we've seen the Aurora come out and give Sam Ladd some fits a little bit there, but they're that it's going to be top side versus, I feel like, bot side here, because coin flip, man, GeoProw and Bori, while I don't think they've shown their best work this split, Bori is back-to-back finals MVP for a reason, and GeoProw, we haven't even seen like some of the stuff he's pulled out in splits in the past, like the Elise, or even some of the wackier support picks, if you can believe he gets even wackier. So,
Oh yeah, I can believe it.
yeah. So I don't fuck I don't know where to go with this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's gonna be a tough one. The tough part with me for coin flip is they have such good players. I think just the nature of what they play, and I love it for them. Coin flip. Often at times on paper, if you don't watch games, it's it's a lot of like, how did they lose this one? I think sometimes just the way they play, always looking to scrap, they drop games that they maybe shouldn't. So or wouldn't on paper at least. So I think that'll be something to keep in mind for this series, and why I think it's going to go the distance, despite the fact that for me the top side is going to be relatively even. I think Brandino matches up well into Soboro's jungler, and I think top side Matthias is going to be able to kind of nullify Terry Kim. Mid lane, I expect to be relatively even. I think both teams don't necessarily play through their mids. Their mids play more of a supportive role. But bot lane, giving the hard advantage to coin flip there. I think GeoPro and Bori should run over some of those lanes, especially if we see some strong picks out of GeoPro. So I have it 3-2 coin flip personally. I think they may just get a little overeager in some games, but other than that, I think they'll kind of have early games on lock if nothing crazy happens in the top side. Expect Kindred Galio to come out from Sobro, but I think coin flip just has enough gas in them in the best of five, and just the individually stronger players for them to come out on top this series.
Yeah, I do agree. I would go 3-1 coin flip. I think the coin flips solo laners specifically have a lot more tricks in their pocket. Um, we see Matthias pulling out stuff like the Ivern, and I think he's got a few other kind of interesting picks there. Brandino, while sometimes could key in on certain champions or certain styles, he still has quite a few champions that he could pull out, being a former top laner. So there's definitely some probably flexibility there. The mid lane, Arresto can play a very patient game and let the game come to him, which I think is kind of where coin flip, they can play around and play to a little bit more, because the top side of the map really loves to fight. GeoProw and Bori can love to scrap and fight too. Arresto just plays very patiently a lot of times with his picks. We've seen the Swain come out. He's a avid Anivia player. We've seen him pull it out, I think, once or twice this split already as well. So he's very good at just being patient, letting the game come to him, and I think that's going to be key here, because this champ pool can really stall out a game. If Soboro does get ahead, though, especially in the top side, I can definitely see a world where the one game they win, they just completely run it over because CoinFlip just keeps trying to bash into them. But CoinFlip's drafts, if they come in with a couple of set drafts with these wacky picks and build their drafts a lot more effectively, I feel like that can be their strength in the Soboro here. So I would go 3-1 coin flip. It would not surprise me if it goes to 5 games and it can be kind of wacky, but overall, I agree a lot with what you're saying around the map. So
yeah, it'll be. I mean, we got some good series to watch this week.
Yeah, best of 5 fearless makes this quite fun. So overall, looking at the rest of the playoffs, or the teams going here, do you think there's a team that could potentially make like a really deep run here if you had to pick one?
If I had to, I mean, I think on paper, the 2 1 seeds on both sides are going to be heavy favorites on each side of the bracket there. We've touched on Instinct so much how they have historically been so dominant, usually make a deep run themselves. And then what we've seen out of the Hashira, expect more of the same, just at all levels and all roles, really good players. And so that gives them this high floor there, where you almost expect them to win through their first few matches. But time will tell. Are we planning on doing predictions for the rest of playoffs here?
No.
Okay.
No. I just no, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I do think the bot side of the bracket, Hidden Leaf, Coinflip, Saburo, I think that's probably going to be the bloodier side of the map. I think all 3 teams can play this really, really combative, kill heavy, like solo queue-esque style, to where I think the top side of the bracket is a lot more methodical and team play around it. So I do agree overall the 1 seeds are the 1 seeds for a reason. I think Instinct is probably the one I'm really wanting to see the most out of. I don't think they've had the most dominant split compared to splits in the past, so if they get this week off to actually scout and maybe sharpen up a little bit, that's going to be a really scary team. They made semifinals their first split, and last split they made finals for a reason, and they haven't changed their lineup across any of the splits. So
yeah, should be exciting. I mean, like I said, I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to tune in. It'll be a good week of Midwest action, and thanks for having me this week, CLT.
no, it's I appreciate it again. I know Herwick is still fighting some voice issues, so he's been just kind of resting, and we've all had very stressful kind of end of the year. So I do appreciate you coming on here. We just hit the hour mark just a little bit ago at about an hour 3 now. So definitely one of our shorter ones, but only 3 series to talk about.
3 series, and I think between part 1 that Herwick was able to film earlier and this hour here, people got some good content for the week.
Yep. And excited to go kind of watch the playoff series that's going on from start to finish, and see, I believe, let me pull this up real quick. When does Saburo and them play?
I think it'll be Saturday at 8 Eastern default time. I may be able to cast that one as well.
Oh yeah. Look at that, Saturday 8 p.m. Yep, you were correct. I actually scheduled that really early. Yeah, I might be around as well to help out with a little bit of that one, but we shall see. But Nexus, again, much love, my friend, for coming in and helping me knock this out. And glad to see you guys this season pull off and make a little bit of a playoff run there, man.
Yeah, it was a fun season. Like I said, going to be some good action to look forward to for the rest of the time.
Yep. So, yeah, for myself, CLT, and Mr. Nexus, we're going to call it here, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the Twitch chat during playoffs. Deuces.
See you guys.